Hi everyone, welcome to Straight Talk. Today we are very proud and honored to invite Karthik Siva, a well-known strategist worldwide and also the founding chairman of Global Entrepreneur Exchange, which I am one of the advisory board. And the most important thing about Karthik is he is a leadership mentor that have mentored more than 1,000 CEOs. And today he will be sharing with us his view, his insights, as well as his strategy for most of the CEOs, entrepreneurs, business owners to sail through this challenging time. Welcome, Karthik.
Thank you very much, KK, for having me here and to discuss this fairly complicated and difficult topic. And I'm delighted to speak to you on this.
Yes, Karthik, if we can summarize one word for this year up until now, I guess it has to be uncertainties. With this US trade war, the government change, COVID-19, the oil crisis, you name it. So what is your personal view on the global business sentiment right now?
Overall, the crisis we are facing is quite unprecedented and extremely complex because this is what I call a once in a generation crisis. Why am I saying that? This crisis is not only an economic crisis, it is a medical and health crisis, and it is a social crisis. So it is all these three things rolled into one. That's why it becomes quite complicated, and even most governments are trying to figure out what to do, let alone businesses or SMEs and micro SMEs. This is a huge challenge. It's full of, what is going to happen, how long is it going to last, what can I do to deal with this and survive this?
Yes, Karthik, let us bring the focus back to Malaysia. From Malaysia perspective, how are we different and what kind of impacts are we seeing?
There is going to be, without question, a significant impact. Like I said, the impact is not only an economic impact.
Mm-hmm.
There is, as you're aware, there's also a political, ramification from this. There is definitely a social impact, and there is a significant, health and medical impact. This is going to put a tremendous stress on the infrastructure of Malaysia, public infrastructure. Do we have enough doctors to handle this crisis? Right now, it's about close to 1,100 people affected.
Yes.
Globally, 185 countries are affected. More than 300,000 people are affected. Nearly 12,000 people have lost their lives. And these numbers are only going to increase until we bring this challenge within our control. So this is going to put tremendous stress on our public infrastructure, particularly medical, social, and health.
Yeah.
And if you talk in terms of business impact, I mean, there is going to be significant business impact.
Mm-hmm.
There is a possibility of, recession because industry for industry, the impact is huge. Airline industry literally has come to a standstill.
Yeah.
The tourism industry has come to a standstill. Hospitality industries have come to standstill, and more than 90% of entrepreneurs are micro SMEs. They're not just SMEs, they are micro SMEs. And they employ hundreds of thousands of workers who earn either daily or weekly wages. And all of them are going to be affected. And to, speculate a little bit and take an educated guess, if let's say 10 to 15 or 20% of SMEs and micro SMEs are affected, you're looking at anything from 1 to 3 million jobs hanging in balance or getting lost.
Mhm.
So, and I'm not even talking about the palm oil crisis we are facing. I'm not even talking about the supply chain impact from China. Uh, I'm just talking about the challenges that the country as a whole is facing.
Yes.
So really, the impact is happening at multiple levels. But I also want to very quickly say this. It is all right to feel uncertain and anxious.
Mhm.
But if you look at the big picture, which is really what we need to do if we are leaders, uh, the overall mortality rate of the Wuhan virus or this coronavirus
Yes.
is roughly 2 to 2.5% if you average it out.
Mhm.
Okay. So that kind of mortality is not too different from an impact of flu, for instance.
Yes.
Okay. What is happening is it's the elderly people that are getting quite seriously affected.
Mhm.
And overall, it's only 2 to 3% maximum. And you should also look at, not just 275,000 to 200 to 300,000 people that have been infected.
Yes.
You must also look at the fact that nearly 100,000 people have been cured.
Mhm.
Okay. So, country for country, yes, you have casualties, but what people are forgetting to look at is the number of people that have been cured. So that is the good news. And where there is lockdowns, stringent rules in countries where people come together, where government speaks in one voice,
Yes.
this impact is always effectively addressed. You can see certain countries, I think South Korea is doing a very good job.
Mhm.
You can see India is doing an excellent job in spite of its huge population.
Mhm.
You can see Japan is beginning to do a very good job. And you can see China, even though initially they didn't manage things very well,
Mhm.
information wasn't shared. We could have gained a lot of time if this was shared with WHO and rest of the world.
All right.
But after this impact became huge in China, the government got into the act and locked down and took some stringent measures and kind of, addressed the challenge. So really the good news is this, the actual casualty is not as big as a lot of people are speculating. Worst case scenario, it is 3%, but
Mhm.
best case scenario is under 2%. And in South Korea, it's only 0.8%. So this is the good news. And when we panic and feel very fearful, that is going to create more death than the actual virus. The big virus, in my opinion, is WhatsApp, it's Instagram, and Facebook. It is
Honest.
not the actual virus.
Yes. Yes. Yeah. Thank you, Kate. Kate, in your opinion, how should the government help the business owners right now? The policies that you see fit.
Okay, I think the government can help in multiple ways. The most important thing the government needs to do is it needs to send a strong and positive signal to all citizens, not just businesses, SMEs, micro SMEs, big businesses. It is to all citizens. There has to be a positive message of hope and confidence.
Mhm.
And the message needs to be that this is a serious challenge, but we can manage this, we can address this. The whole country has been mobilized, the whole medical and healthcare system has been mobilized. We as a government can definitely financially back industries, SMEs. We as a government can definitely help out employees, help out business owners. So please don't panic. We are behind you and we will take care of you. I think the first thing that needs to be done is this message of confidence and hope.
Mhm.
The second thing the government can obviously do is to work with banks and look at relaxing credit terms, look at relaxing existing loans that have already been given to various companies, SMEs, micro SMEs, and so on and so forth. That's the second thing it can do.
Alright.
A third thing it can do is to give subsidies and grants to employees
Mhm.
working for SMEs and micro SMEs
Okay.
and industries that have been severely hit. Now, of course, you can't give one solution to all businesses. You
Mhm.
have to look at it carefully in a granular way. But
Mhm.
roughly, what they can do is for businesses that have been hit badly, they can look at covering 60 to 80% of employees' salaries for 2 to 3 months.
Mhm.
I think that is easily possible. The third or fourth strategies government can obviously adopt will be looking at subsidies to owners of micro SMEs and
Mhm.
SMEs in
Mhm.
terms of grants and in terms of tax reliefs. So there are many strategies governments can adopt and specific ministries can adopt.
Mhm.
But I think the real big challenge is not a business challenge or a health challenge. It is a leadership challenge.
Leadership.
What is most important is a message of hope, a message of confidence, and a positive signal needs to be given not just to businesses but to all citizens of Malaysia.
Mhm.
Because the reality is this: Malaysia has faced big challenges before. We faced the currency crisis in the late 1990s, which was a significant challenge. We faced the subprime crisis
Yes.
before. We faced the SARS challenge before. So Malaysia has faced a lot of challenges. The world has faced a lot of challenges. And like any big challenge, the big strategy is always going to be this: we must not wait for other leaders, but we must show leadership. We must show that we're in charge, and we must take responsibility, and we
Mhm.
must help each other. That's the only way we can deal with and navigate and address any big challenge. So it's not a business challenge, it's not an economic challenge, it is a leadership challenge.
Thank you, Karthik. At this trying time, what should a business owner, entrepreneurs, CEOs do in terms of their mindset, skill set, as well as tool set?
Okay, I can possibly share 7 simple steps, strategies. You can even call them tips, if you may.
Mhm.
And all these 7 steps and strategies will work for any business leader, any SME or micro SME. The first strategy will be this: focus all your attention and energies on what you can control rather than what you cannot control.
Mhm.
Now, in life, there are two kinds of problems. There are problems you can manage and control, and there are problems you cannot manage and cannot control. You cannot control the weather. You cannot control how technology is developing. You cannot control regulation.
Mhm.
You cannot control disruptions that are happening in the marketplace. You
Yes.
cannot control strategies China is creating. You cannot control the trade war between China and United States. But what you can control is what you think, how you feel, and how you respond to these challenges. Okay?
Yes.
So, what are the things you can control? What you can control is this. You can control and manage your customers, your valuable customers. You can control and manage your employees. You can control and manage the motivation and morale of people that are around you. You can manage and control and communicate with your suppliers. You can manage, control, and communicate to your bankers, and so on and so forth. This is what you can manage and control.
Yes.
But if you try to control coronavirus, it is impossible, because this is something not only beyond your scope, it is beyond the scope of any industry. It is also beyond the scope of a government.
Yes.
We can only control our own mind, our own thinking, our own response and action. So that is the first important strategy I'm going to recommend and propose. And this works for anybody, whether you're a business person, whether you're a CEO, whether you're a minister, whether you're a prime minister. It doesn't matter whether you're a mother or whether you are a caregiver in a hospital. The second strategy or step I'd like to propose is this. Focus on fact and not on feeling. Now, there is a huge difference between what the facts are, and what your feelings are.
Yes.
Now, feelings are always emotional. Feelings can distract you, and feelings can create fear. Feelings can create anxiety, and so on and so forth. So focus on fact. What do I mean by focusing on fact? When it comes to your business, have a plan A, plan B, and plan C at the very minimum. Plan A can be, what is the economic impact on my business if there is a 1 month lockdown? Right now, it's a 15-day lockdown. What is the impact, economic impact, if there is a 1 month lockdown? What is the impact on my cash flow? What is the impact on my margin? What is the impact on my credit management? What is my impact on my sale, on my revenues? What is my impact on my employees, on my suppliers, and on my supply chain? So this is something anybody can do. Focus on fact. Okay, 1 month, that is your plan A. Plan B is, what happens if this lockdown gets extended by 2 months? Suppose more people get infected.
Yes.
See, the reality is this: the problem will get worse before it gets better. That is the truth with any crisis. So what you can do is this. You can say, right now there is 1,100, 1,200 people infected. This could go up to 3,000, maybe 5,000, maybe 10,000. We don't know. So what happens if there is a 2-month lockdown? So look at your cash flow. Look at, once again, your customers, your supply chain, your margins, your finances. Talk to your banks, talk to your customers, talk to your employees, and you can manage this for 2 months. Okay? How long can you last without any cash flow and without any revenues if this lockdown goes on for 2 months?
Yes.
The third scenario, or plan C, is going to be this. What happens if there is a partial lockdown for more than 2 months? Let's say for 3 to 6 months. If it's a partial lockdown, there won't be a 100% lockdown.
Yes.
But there could be a partial lockdown. Once again, you need to look at various aspects, your finances, cash flow, employees, customers, supply chain, and so on and so forth. So take a hard look at facts and ask yourself, what is the worst case scenario? Okay. And realistically, what are the different kinds of scenarios? So I've given you 3 simple scenarios, and for each scenario, you need a plan A, plan B, and plan C.
Okay.
And this is my guess, this is my estimate. I think most likely there will be just a 1 month lockdown. Okay. And to me, the worst case scenario could be a 2 month lockdown or partial lockdown. And I think most SMEs can manage this, navigate this, and survive this. So this is going to be my second strategy. Have a plan A, plan B, plan C. And the most important thing is focus on fact, don't focus on feelings. Okay. The third strategy I will propose and recommend is this. This is called engage, engage, engage. Engage with all your stakeholders. Engage with your employees, particularly with your star employees. You can't afford to lose them. You can't afford to have them demotivated or demoralized. Engage with your banks. Engage with your suppliers. Engage with your customers, particularly your valuable customers. One of the worst things that can happen during a crisis and when there is uncertainty is this. Most leaders are overcome with fear. They isolate themselves, they alienate themselves, and they hide.
Yes.
This is the worst thing any leader should be doing. A leader must stand up, take responsibility, take charge, and engage with everybody. Because when you engage with everybody, you create human connection, you create collaboration, you create cooperation, and something amazing happens. You start to get ideas. And other people, because you've started engaging with them, will begin to empower you, help you, and everybody begins to empower each other. So engage, engage, engage with all your stakeholders. So this is step or strategy number 3. Strategy number 4 or step number 4 is going to be this. Ask for help. Seek advice from mentors. Seek advice from CEOs who have more experience, CEOs and entrepreneurs who are very successful and who have seen many crises in their lives. And they know exactly how these crises tend to pan out, and they will give you insights. They will more than happily share with you ideas, tips, strategies, and so on and so forth. One of the worst things you can do is to take the whole burden on yourself. Okay. Remember, you are not the general manager of this universe. You are not the CEO of this planet. Okay. Collaborate with other people. Ask for advice. There are so many people who are wise. There are so many people who have walked down this path, who have seen terrible things, and they have invaluable, priceless advice and diamonds to share. So please do seek advice and help from other people who are more experienced and more wise than you are. So that is strategy number 4. That is step number 4.
Yes.
Now let's look at strategy number 5 or step number 5. This is what I'm going to tell all business leaders and entrepreneurs. Show leadership. Don't wait for leadership to happen. That is never going to happen. It is your opportunity to take charge, take responsibility, do something, and spread the sunshine and spread positive energy instead of sitting and complaining and feeling bad and blaming everybody. Remember, as a leader, there are 3 ways to approach any problem. The first approach is to be overcome with fear and get paralyzed. When you take this approach, you will get run over and destroyed. The second strategy you can do is this. You can be reactive and you can blame other people. You can blame the government. You can blame China. You can blame Xi Jinping. You can blame Donald Trump. You can blame everybody, the stock market, and so on and so forth. Now, the problem if you do this is you are infecting everybody with a more dangerous virus. This is the negative virus. This is the virus of reaction. And this virus is more dangerous than any virus in the planet. And I feel this is really what is happening to people around. Every day I get 30 to 50 WhatsApp messages and Instagram messages with all horror stories that are happening everywhere. And everybody is sending messages in terms of how many people in Puchong are affected, how many people in Cheras are affected, how many people in Xinjiang are affected, in Moscow and in New York are affected. Now, this is a terrible and horrible way to react to a challenge. So don't do the second strategy. The third strategy is this: take charge, show leadership, stand up, step up, spread optimism, spread and communicate hope and goodwill among people. Cooperate with people, collaborate with people, because when people join together, you can address any problem in this planet. This world has seen the First World War, Second World War. It's seen unprecedented challenges. Oil crisis, the fall of the Berlin Wall, Cold War. It has seen the SARS crisis. It has seen, depressions in the 1930s. It has seen more than 10 recessions. And now we are facing coronavirus. And I don't think this virus is as big as the Spanish flu, which killed millions of people across the planet in 1918. So if people come together, we become bigger than the challenge and we can deal with any challenge. But if we spread fear, it is the worst possible virus we can spread. So strategy number 5 is this: take charge, show leadership, forget about, doing the, either getting paralyzed or reacting. Instead, stand up, step up and take responsibility. The sixth strategy any entrepreneur, any leader can adopt is this: ask yourself, what can you learn from this challenge? Ask a better question. Ask a smarter question. Remember, if you want a great answer, ask a great question. If you want a stupid solution, ask a stupid solution. If you want a negative answer or solution, ask a negative question. Ask a better question and you'll get a better answer. So what am I saying is this: what can you learn from this crisis? I think there are many things one can learn from this crisis. The first thing you can learn from this crisis is this: if you are a business, you cannot have just one plan. You must have a plan B, a plan C, maybe a worst case scenario plan D, right? Any business must have more than one plan. So this is one big learning. The second big learning is this: don't put all your eggs in one basket. Everybody is facing this challenge here because everybody has put all their eggs in the China basket. Why did you put all your manufacturing and your entire supply chain in the China basket? Diversify your basket. Diversify your supply chain. Diversify your manufacturing. Diversify your customers. So this is a second big learning you could look at. The third big learning is this: ask yourself, what is the right business model for your company for the future? Now, the good thing is this problem forces people to evaluate and assess their business models.
True.
So you've got to ask yourself, what is the best possible business model for my company if I want to move forward? Okay. The fourth way of looking at it and learning from it is this: can you go digital at this point in time? Can you look at the next 3 months to digitize your company, to look at taking your business online, or at least having an offline strategy and a digital strategy? A next plan you could look at, or learning you may consider, is this: diversify your business. Don't just look at one market, look at multiple markets, look at multiple businesses as well. Now, the final thing you could do in terms of learning is this: what we are right now seeing is a massive challenge. But if you distance yourself from the challenge, you may actually profit from the problem.
Yes.
How can you do that? You can maybe look at what are the opportunities in this challenge. Actually, every challenge has opportunities if you actually look at it carefully. Many years ago, in 1982, Johnson and Johnson, it was often looked at as one of the world's most trusted companies and brands. People who took their product, which was the world's top selling over the counter product called Tylenol, started facing problems in the early 1980s, I think 1982. They found that people were dying when they took Tylenol. 8 people died. And they found that Tylenol was laced with cyanide. Some disgruntled employee or competitor opened the packaging and laced it with cyanide. Now, what Johnson & Johnson did was they completely recalled all the tablets from the market. It was the world's biggest recall, close to $100 million of recall in the early 1980s. And then what they did was they came out with a novel packaging idea. They called it tamper-proof packaging. They came out with a triple sealed packaging, which was tamper-proof, and reintroduced this product. They also focused firstly on protecting lives, so they recalled all their products. Obviously, their share prices fell in the short term, but when they reintroduced tamper-proof products, Tylenol, the market share began to take off, and it quickly became the #1 product again. And slowly the entire industry and even other industries started copying and benchmarking tamper-proof packaging. You see, they converted a huge problem into a massive business opportunity. So really what I'm saying is this: distance yourself from the problem and ask yourself whether you can profit from the problem and maybe convert this challenge into an opportunity. So this is the 6th strategy. And the final strategy, KK, is going to be this. This is the time for reflection. This is the time to focus on what is important rather than what is urgent.
Yes.
I think we all need to step back and ask ourselves this question: what is important in life? And I think we will all come to the conclusion that people are more important than things.
Yes.
That people and close relationships are far more important than money. Meaning is more important than product, and so on and so forth.
Yes.
So I think this is the perfect time to reflect. This is the perfect time to communicate. This is the perfect time to connect with family, with friends, with the community. All of us, you and me, we're very, very lucky. Okay. We have some money. We can definitely ride over this crisis. Yes, maybe we'll get impacted a little bit. But what we can do is this: there are millions and millions of people who don't have the same kind of fortune we have. They don't have the same blessings that we have. How can we help them? What can we do for them? How can we support them? And I think that is really what we need to focus on. We should shift the focus from me to we. Okay? We should shift the focus to all the people that are near and dear to us. We should spend and invest most of our time on people, training people, coaching people, and getting people to change their mindset and let them look at the bigger picture. Because the bigger picture is this: we are all bigger than the problem. And if we all come together, we can tackle any challenge. And our common humanity is far more powerful than any problem we can face. So at the end of the day, this is not an economic problem. It is not even a health problem. This is a leadership problem. And this is an opportunity for all of us to come together and defeat the problem. So that is the final and seventh strategy.
Wow,
And any
amazing.
business,
Yes.
anybody, any business, any nurse, any doctor, any CEO, any SME, any minister can really step back. And I'm sure any one of these 7 ideas, tips, and strategies can be adopted and can work for all of us.
Yes.
And I'm saying this not because I'm smart. I'm saying this because I've been very stupid for many, many years. I faced many crises without learning from it. Okay, I faced the currency crisis. I faced, the subprime crisis. I faced many personal crises myself. And at the end of the day, I always know one thing: humanity always wins. Our common, connection always wins, and we are always bigger than any challenge. And this is not a business problem. This is a human problem. And let us see it that way.
Well said, Karthik. Thank you very much. Karthik, I would like to end our interview with one last question. I want to touch on a little bit about innovations. How can innovations play a crucial part in this season of time?
Very simple. I've actually written books on innovation, and last 20 years I've spent, not just talking about it, but working with governments, CEOs, all kinds of companies, including SMEs, on innovation. Now, there are many, many ways of looking at innovation. There are very sophisticated ways of looking at innovation, but I'm not going to talk about that right now.
Yes.
I want to define innovation in a manner anybody can understand. Even a micro SME who has 2 employees, who's running a nasi lemak stall, can understand.
Yeah.
What do you mean by innovation? Innovation is a new way of solving an old problem. As simple as that. So innovation is nothing but the capacity to solve problems. So if you solve a small problem, you get small rewards. But if you solve a big problem, you will get big rewards. That is the most important thing you need to remember about innovation. The second thing to look at about innovation is this: innovation is not only about solving a problem, it is also about solving the problem and creating an advantage out of solving the problem. Because when you solve a problem, you not only solve a problem, you actually become smarter, you become a better leader, you actually gain from solving a problem. So you see, at a basic level, innovation is about solving a problem. At a slightly more advanced level, innovation is actually about benefiting from the problem. There is a third level of innovation, and that is about converting a problem into an opportunity. Right? Now, when you convert a problem into an opportunity, it is no longer a problem. It is actually additional revenues, cash flows, margins, and even a new business that you have created. That example I gave you from Johnson & Johnson is a classic example of not just about solving a problem, It is not just about converting a problem into an advantage, but it is finally about converting a problem into a massive business opportunity.
Mhm.
So innovation is about doing any one of these three things, you know, a
Mhm.
new way of solving an old problem and doing it better than other people, doing it cheaper than other people, doing it faster than other people, or smarter than other people. That is innovation in short. And anybody who looks at innovation this way knows exactly what to do. You don't require any sophisticated skills. You know, if you're a homemaker, you can innovate in the kitchen. If
Mhm.
you're a caregiver, you can innovate by not only giving medicines to people who are sick, but you
Mhm.
can also uplift their mood,
Yes.
right? It is a teaching moment. It is not just a moment to give medicines. So
Mhm.
it doesn't matter who you are. You can always convert a problem into an advantage. Anybody can do that. But if you're smarter, you will not only solve the problem and convert it into an advantage, you will transform the problem into an opportunity.
Mhm.
So that's really my two bits on innovation. So by that definition, anybody can innovate.
Wow, totally agree. Karthik, thanks for the great sharing. It's an inspiration. And most importantly, thank you for your time to spend with us. I am pretty sure your message, the insights that you share with us will, especially at these trying times, will definitely give a push to all the entrepreneurs that we have out there. Thank you very much again for your time, Karthik.
You know, KK,
Yes.
KK, once again, thank you for talking to me. It's
Mhm.
a great joy and pleasure, as always,
Mhm.
discussing things with you. I hope this exchange was useful, and I hope, most importantly, we spread the sunshine,
Yes.
we spread optimism,
Yes.
and we get people not to focus on the problem,
Mhm.
but to look at the bigger picture, which
Yes.
is our common humanity.
Mm.
And ultimately, we are not looking at an economic or business problem. We are
Mhm.
really looking at a human problem and a leadership challenge. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much again. Thank you.